Importance to the environment and its impact outside of particle physics. One of the big ecological projects Fermilab does is the prairie. And the prairie is Illinois' history, and less than 1% of the prairie is left, which is sort of sad. And having the prairie here is really beneficial to our community. It prevents runoff and erosion, which then helps aquifer levels, protects topsoil, and reduces flooding in the area. And it's also bringing back a lot of wildlife that they didn't see before the prairie restoration project started. And the prairie is also a good way to get the community involved. They do volunteer harvest, which I've actually been to one, and it's a lot of fun, and you learn a lot. And then they also have Third Thursday Cleanup Habitat Restoration Group, and they do special programs on Earth and Arbor Day. And also in 7th grade at Rotolo, you go to the prairie after you learn about it. And so it's kind of cool to learn about it in the classroom, but then you get to actually see it and experience it. Another group Fermilab is involved with is Chicago Wilderness, which is a group that focuses on conserving, rebuilding, and protecting the nature in the Chicagoland area. And they have meetings with all their different members to discuss the issues and unify themselves together. And Fermilab is one of the most diverse ecosystems in the group, so I think it's important that we keep Fermilab so they can be a good contribution to that program. Fermilab is also a national environmental research park, which there's only 7 in the country, and they are outdoor labs that experiment on complex or ecological issues that we don't fully understand yet. And they also talk a lot about the consequences of energy use and development, and then of course come up with solutions for those problems. Another thing about Fermilab is the wildlife, and there's the bison, which in my research I learned were kind of a symbol, since Fermilab is particle physics frontier, and bison are a symbol for the frontier. I thought it was kind of cool. And there's the birds and the butterflies and geese, deer, all that. And that's another great way to get the community involved, because a lot of people come to see the bison and to walk the trails and to just kind of enjoy all that Fermilab has to offer. Fermilab also has gotten a lot of national awards and recognition for their green business tactics. And their pollution control, recycling programs, and conservation practices. And I think as a community, this is something we should be really proud of, something we should want to have in our community, and to continue. And next up is Tess.
My name is Tess Josie, and while Fermilab is very important to scientists and of course the whole particle physics frontier and field of particle physics, it's also an essential part of our community. One reason for that is the many educational opportunities provided here at Fermilab. Of course, the Letterman Science Center, they provide teacher resources, exhibits, and labs, and also field trips, of course. We came last Friday, and it was really interesting. We got to visit the Letterman Science Center, and our docent took us on a tour of everything, and we got to actually talk to a scientist and ask him many questions, so that was very interesting. And then lectures. I've actually never been to one, but I've heard from fellow students that they're very interesting, and they're on a wide array of topics, so maybe someday I'll go to one of those. Other industries are also impacted by the work done here at Fermilab. Medicine, of course, how Lily and Charlotte talked about the Neutron Therapy Center. Very important, and it saved countless lives from cancer. Also, the power transmission industry is affected by the work here at Fermilab. Cables that are made of superconducting material can carry far more electricity than conventional cables, and further advances in particle physics can contribute to this. Also, the transportation industry is affected. Magnetically levitating trains use magnets to suspend and propel the trains. Magnets that are developed for accelerators can play a role in this future mode of travel. And another reason Fermilab is just so great in the community is that it's a place of recreation and natural beauty, and it's just fun to come here. Like Kat said before me, the prairie is such a great place to visit, and on top of all, it's a great preservation of Illinois' natural history. It's kind of what Illinois is known for, and we always learn about how the pioneers came to the prairie, but it's really sad how there's so little left. But we have our own little slice of it here. There are many recreational activities available to do, biking, fishing, and bird watching, so much that the family can enjoy together. And also something I thought was really interesting is that there's barn dancing and folk dancing lessons and activities here at Fermilab. I don't know, I never really pictured physicist barn dancing, but I guess it happens. And also on kind of the arts and culture side of things, the art exhibits, what we came for our field trip, our docent told us about. Some of them we actually didn't get to go look, but it sounds interesting how they feature different artists at different times. And also concerts and other events of that nature. It's great that Fermi Lab supports the arts and also just provides a venue for the community to come out and listen to some great music. And all this shows that Fermi Lab is not just a one-sided place. In addition to being a world-famous physics lab, Fermi Lab is an invaluable place in our community. And before I learned so much about what Fermi Lab has to offer and the science side of things and the ecology side of things and the medicine side of things, I sort of took it for granted. I remember we would always drive past Fermi Lab and people would say, oh, there it is, and I would be like, I didn't really know what happened here, I didn't really know what they did, but now that I do, it's just so interesting, and it's so great to say that we have a place of science and nature and learning practically in our own backyard. Not many people can say that. So thank you very much for coming to listen to our thoughts and research about Fermi Lab, and we couldn't imagine our community without this place.
Does anybody have any questions? We have a few minutes before we have to go.
I don't know why we just don't let them be the
Well, I gotta say, I've been here for like, 8 years, and this is the most concise presentation on Fermi Lab I've ever seen. It was really quite good.
I finally get the science of everything that's been explained to me. I finally get it.
Did you get this on tape?
We didn't have the camera in here.
We have a camera.
We have a home video, so we'll get that.
Send it to Washington.
Any questions or comments for the kids in the audience?
Good job. Great job.
Great job. Thank you so
Great
much.
job.
Herman is one of our barn dancing physicists.
I like to hear laughing.
In fact, at 7:30 tonight, there's barn dancing at the barn, so on your way out, real physicists falling all over you. Not only was the material great, but even your public speaking was just great. Very, very, very good.
All right, advisory board members, we're back in our normal spot across the hall, and then parents and everybody else, thank you for coming by. We appreciate it. Have a good night.